Good evening and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 193 of 2025. And I'm beginning the story of the 5 wise words of the Guru. Now, why do I want to tell that story right now? Because Guru Purnima was July 10th of 2025. What is Guru Purnima about? Well, Guru Purnima is about giving appreciation, acknowledgement to our gurus, to our teachers, those people who have helped us along the way. In India, it's given to people that help you along your spiritual path. And that attention is especially directed to Vyasa, who was the author of the Mahabharata, or the Mahabharata, depending on what part of India you hear that name from. He was also known to be that person that compiled the Vedas, Vedas being the eternal books of truth, and branches of the Vedas that you may know would include Ayurveda, which is that ancient system of health, as well as Stapacha Veda, or Stapacha Ved, again, depending on what part of India you hear that word from. Stapacha Ved is the ancient knowledge of how to build structures so that the people that inhabit them or work within them receive the full benefit of nature. So, Guru Purnima is a great day to remember those people in our lives that have shared with us the most to help us along our spiritual path. What does the spiritual path mean? You might want to contemplate that for a minute. Now, I could tell you my interpretation of the spiritual path, which is to acknowledge your union or unity with everyone and everything. That would be the ideal goal of a spiritual path, is to understand that connection, to feel through every fiber of our being our connection to everything else around us and every person, every living creature, that we would know that we are immersed in and living through a unified field. All right, so our story, the 5 wise words of the Guru, begins with a handsome, strong young man whose name was Ram Singh. Now, he lived in a country where you might imagine a name like that being common. And it so happened that his mother had died when he was quite young. His father had married another woman, and his stepmother, well, she drove him quite often to distraction. She just would chatter away incessantly. Now, as a young boy, it didn't bother him so much, and he would always just run off and play and not mind. But as he grew older and into his later teen years, he just couldn't stand it anymore. And one day he resolved to leave. And once he had decided to do so, he made appropriate preparations, and well, the next morning found him walking away from his home with a small bit of money in a wallet and a small amount of clothes in a sack, which he carried from a strap over his shoulder. Now, he was on his way out of town, but there was one person that he wished to see before he left, and that was his guru, who through the years had taught him more than anyone else had. So before leaving town, he turned himself in the direction of the guru's home and made off.